Chair calls the Greenwood Consolidated School District Special Call Meeting to order. Can we please pause for a moment of silent prayer? Amen. Chair will entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Motion is carried. Just for informational purposes, I just want to go over a few guidelines. Of course, today we don't hardly have any people in the audience, but just for future references, I want to make sure that we following the CDC guidelines as far as social distancing is concerned. I want to make sure that everybody is staying 6 feet apart, which is 2 arm lengths apart from each other the entire meeting, that everyone wears a mask. Wash your hands before you come, and make sure that you get your temperature checked at the front door. And you can read the CDC .gov to be further in depth. At this time, Dr. Brown.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Okay. As we know, we have our winter and spring sports on the agenda. I want to start out with a discussion. I would like to say that Mr. Greenwood, our athletic director, is here, and we have had some conversations regarding whether we move forward with winter or spring sports, and I know we're up on a deadline. And so we want to just to give you a little bit more information regarding that decision before we go into the consideration. Mr. Gatewood.
Dr. Brown and I have been having conversations about reopening winter sports and spring sports, and I was telling her that if you all decide to vote to open the reopening, that we'll take the necessary precautions to make sure that the kids stay safe as for the Greenwood Leflore Consolidated School District as an organization, and it's implementing social distance, make sure that the kids are properly trained and the staff is properly trained, ensuring that they protect the kids as much as we can. We also talked to a group of kids on Friday about the reopening. How could they help us to ensure us that they can tell their teammates about the plan that we're trying to get going to ensure that everyone stays safe. And several kids wrote action plan that they would take in consideration themselves, as well as the coaches, making sure that the kids do the right thing as far as social distance, making sure their hands are washed, making sure that they are not out among other kids and not protecting themselves with the face mask or not trying to protect themselves at all. How they would actually alleviate themselves from being around kids like this. Just they trying to ensure us that they can take precautionary decision and make sure everybody stays safe as a team. And like I said, we've been considering, and we just need your approval to vote up and down.
Dr. Brown, do we have the attorney on standby?
The board is turning. We can call them.
Can we call? Let me see if I can get him online.
Because my question is, as far as it relates to the district, do we have a system where we can put some liability waivers in place? And do we have any type of method for rapid testing of these kids? Because it's easy to say that we're going to stay apart and do what we need to do. But I'm thinking in terms of the district, if there happens to be an outbreak on whatever team that's playing, you know, what is it going to be liability-wise for the district.
Right. And so what Mr. Gaywood and I talked about, even moving forward with this, whatever your decision is today, we still have to continue to plan for safety. We did, I did ask the question about waivers. We hadn't contacted the board's attorney, but we also discussed consequences for the athletic staff, if they are negligent in fulfilling their duties and obligations. We also discussed with the students the consequences of those who are negligent or not following guidelines. So we're still having those conversations. I just know that there is a deadline to make a decision, and even after the decision is made, it doesn't mean that we go out there and do the ABC. We still have to make sure that our kids are safe in the district as well as the community. And so what we wanted to do today, we wanted to have a discussion about the winter and spring sports to see what the board's pleasure was regarding that. But at the end of the day, we're still looking to make sure if we do this, we do it safely. And if we don't do it, we plan to do it safely as we progress into the year.
What about the rapid testing? Do we know anything about that?
So Mr. Gatewood talked about contacting someone who has access to a person who may be able to offer free testing, possibly to our kids. I know that other districts may have allowed students to use Medicaid or something like that, but this is just some of the conversations that we've been having.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Pulley, I have you on speakerphone so that if any board member would like to ask you a question.
My only question is like I don't, when you talk about winter sports, are we concentrating on just high school? Because I feel comfortable more with just high school than using the manpower of, it's already going to be a lot of stuff we got to do. So are we just not doing junior high this year and just concentrate on high school if we do this?
Well,
Or are you trying to do?
I spoke with Dr. Brown about it earlier today, and my suggestion was that we're going to
Coach
reopen one
Gatewood,
of
can you speak in your mic so Mr. Pulley can hear you?
I spoke to Dr. Brown earlier this morning about it, and my suggestion was that we reopen winter sports, not to do junior high. And the simple reason because all junior high sports, when it comes to basketball, ends usually like December 15th, 16th, and it'll be a fast response if we were trying to do middle school and high school. So right now, I just really want to just focus on high school, not middle school.
So if we move forward with the decision today, I'm looking at the supplement schedule. I see, on the back about the revised based on duties. So will we be utilizing, will every person on these lists be receiving their supplements?
We will because the reason why, because the manpower. Those coaches will, if they tend to sign up and it'll be on the recommendation of us, really, talking with the coach, because some coaches might opt out of getting their supplement because they probably don't want to do the work. But the ones that do recommend, we will recommend that, they attend all games. They also will start the winter workouts with the kids because in the fall sport, no one have done anything in the last 8 to 9 months and try to acclimate the kids back to working out, getting back in condition, and getting back focused on the task at hand.
So you saying we're voting on winter supplements, right? Not voting on all these supplements?
So when I spoke with Mr. Johnson, we talked about when we look at the fall supplements for any of those individuals who will be helping with the basketball, making sure that the students are safe, not receiving that full supplement, but to revise the supplement based upon the duties for those individuals who are in those fall sports.
Madam President, if I may, question, and I have a statement. My question is, if the board elects to proceed with winter sports, how does this impact our return to school? Will we require the students to attend school physically?
So right now, as I stated during our last board meeting, we are looking at our surveys and we are having those discussions about the transition plan, coming up with a plan to transition first our teachers back into the buildings and then specific grades, but it will still be on a hybrid schedule. And so that plan basically gradually bringing those parents, those students or the parents who feel comfortable bringing them back in only, still offering both the hybrid and the virtual schedule, but gradually transitioning our teachers first and then those students who parents feel comfortable coming in. So we are now having those conversations as well.
So when will those conversations end?
Well, we got Wednesday planned for another one, and then we'll have to bring in our teachers. We were gonna bring in our teachers Wednesday, but they're doing parent-teacher conferences at virtual meetings with teachers to get their input also. And then to see how it will work and if it will work, and we'll go from there. So I can't put a date on it today, but we can put together a timeline that will kind of help be more specific.
So are we saying based on data provided from the community and parents, we will be moving into a hybrid schedule? Is that what you were saying?
We will, for those who are, because you don't have a lot of parents who are saying that they want their kids to come back, but you do have a few that say that they would send their kids back. And so for those who would send their children back, we do want to give them that opportunity.
Because I just can't see us moving into this particular phase and us not focusing on academics. That has to be paramount and first.
Right, and I do believe we do have, even though it is virtual, I think we do have a pretty good, strong virtual instructional process right now. I think it's only strengthened since we first started it. But I do agree with you also with the sports. If we allow sports, then to allow those who are interested in coming back into a traditional setting to attend classes traditionally hybridly.
And Doc, in regards to, I know that there's a notice highlighted on the back in regards to revised duties based on the supplements, but I just cannot rationally support supplements for persons that did not necessarily fulfill a job duty or responsibility at the predetermined time as traditionally would be. And again, I do understand that, other duties can be assigned, but, still with the consideration of social distancing or the maximum capacity of certain facilities, I think all of that should definitely be considered. And for me, just as we would with personnel, before approving, I would definitely need names attached to these supplements versus just a title and the amount of the supplement.
And that's fine. We'll just take notes of those things that you would like, and we'll go back and we'll Mr. Gabriel will check with those individuals who agree to being a part of it and bring those names back.
So can we disattach or whatever the fall sports supplements? Because I think because some of them crossing in. I mean, some of the same people are doing what we can move.
So are you saying that some of the ones that were under football
some of them are going to be coaching. I'm sure some of them be coaching basketball. Some of the ones coach football, coach basketball.
Yeah, but I don't think that's fair.
You don't think what's fair?
For you to provide a supplement for the spring sports, for the sports that are coming up, if we decide to do this.
I mean, they're doing the job.
Doing the job,
You're getting the people that are doing the job. We didn't do
Okay.
fall sports.
And this is just a scale, so they would still have to sign an agreement. Even if the fall sports are here, the individuals still have to sign an agreement before they could receive payment. But I see what Mr. Williams is saying, just disregard or remove all of the fall athletics supplements.
Does anybody have any questions for Attorney Pulley, who's available on the telephone?
My only question would be to him, I don't think he was available when I asked the question about the liability waiver for those students who may be participating in sports if we do decide to vote on it.
A liability waiver?
Yes.
You're not gonna, I mean, they're gonna,
Most districts,
research on it, but we don't make them sign any liability waiver during any other regular time period, do we?
yes.
They're gonna be covered if they get injured or anything like that. I'm sure we have insurance policies that will cover injuries. Now, if you're talking about specifically COVID-19 related, they're gonna assume the risk on that as the same way as if you were to reopen school. That's the parents' choice to allow their children to play.
Most, excuse me, Madam President, most districts that are playing athletics, they do have a
But
waiver.
if the school district wants to feel comfortable, you can allow them to sign it, but I don't know how effective or how the legal sufficiency of the waiver. I don't really know what that means. What are they waiving? What are we saying that we want them to waive?
What if they're playing and they contract COVID and the parents decide to sue the school district?
It's almost the same if they break their leg.
I mean, they
playing.
could have. I think you would have. I mean, I think that they would. I don't believe that that's what this is.
Okay, can it be researched?
Yes.
Okay.
And Attorney Pulley, if I'm not mistaken, I believe either the governor's office or the attorney general's office, they may have put something in place in regards to potential liability or litigation for state agencies or educational organizations in regards to COVID-19, as Ms. Lewis indicated, just as if, a student or even a teacher, if they were to come back to school and say, hey, I contracted COVID from the workplace, where there would be some coverage. But again, law is not my area of expertise, so I'll yield to you.
We did the research, but I will tell you that relates to that student playing sport. They're going to be covered for any injury, but I will tell you, I will provide the research that I've come up with and I find, but just me sitting here thinking there's not going to be any protection for COVID-19 for that child whose parent allowed this to play.
Okay, well,
They got it from school. They could have gotten it from home.
That's right.
I'm not saying that we're trying to release ourselves from any liability, but I am saying that the parent has to give the authority for them to play. And if they give them permission to play, then I believe that they would be assuming the risk of contracting COVID-19.
well, I think what I'm saying is if we cannot use a liability waiver, we need to make sure that parents know that they are, or there may be a possibility that this could happen. Because some parents might come back and say, well, it's the school district's fault. So I'm just thinking in terms of the school.
To you all, but as of today, I have not seen or heard of any guidance related to sport and COVID-19 in the state of Mississippi. But I will provide that to the board ASAP.
Now, what's the difference if we open back up school and sign a waiver? Or if school is in and a child come to school, what's the difference between him playing sports? What's the difference in a waiver? What we looking for? What's the difference? I mean, what do we have to, if a school district got a school up and running versus playing sports, I mean, you can catch the COVID in the hallway or on the football field. Why is athletics so different? That's when I'm lost it.
Athletics are not mandated. I'm not saying that there is a difference, but you don't have to play sports.
Exactly. That's why I go back to the parent. Even if we allow a season, it's still up to you to allow your child to play just like any other season. If you're scared of your child getting a concussion, you would not let them play. So it still go back to the parent to allow that child to play, just like a regular season.
I think we're just living in a world where people are just lawsuit happy. You can file a lawsuit in regards to anything you want to, and it will be left up to us to prove otherwise. And I just want to make sure that the parents are aware of everything at hand.
Well, what I can do is I can provide some research to the board as early as this evening to, if there's any guidance that's out there, I can provide it. But I will tell you that as it relates to COVID-19, the only thing that the school district can do is what it has been doing already, is providing for just following the CDC guidelines, checking temperatures at the door, providing masks for anyone in attendance at the games. But you and I know that you can't play basketball with a mask on, so we don't know how to protect. I don't know if there's any guidance out there on any protection for athletes. I think that as it relates to people filing lawsuits, that is true. They can file a lawsuit. However, if the lawsuits are filed with no legal basis, lawsuits can be dismissed for a lack of, evidence, lack of basis for the lawsuit. In other words, it is my legal advice that, without doing the research already, that I believe that the school district would be immune from any legal liability if a child were to, or a parent were to say that the child contracted coronavirus from playing sports when the parent allowed the child to play.
So we could either table this discussion and give Dr. Brown time to give us the coach's name and give the attorney time to give us language or the information that was just requested, or we could proceed with Dr. Brown. What's the pleasure of the board?
Madam President, I think we need to table this at least for another 24, 48 hours, because I just cannot see us moving into a season of sports before upper level administration has provided us with a hybrid schedule to move forward with the hybrid schedule for students going back to school. And we need a decision on that to find out if there will be a definite move toward the hybrid schedule before we move into sports.
Let me ask you, before we come back to this table and do this again, because we got kids transferring out of our district every day. Now, my thing is, just because we're coming back to play sports, now we have to come back to school? That's what
Mr.
I'm just asking. I don't know what are we voting on. That's what.
Well, my understanding, Madam President, is we're voting to say this is the direction we would like to go. And at that point, the administration would then make preparations or put plans into place to say, based upon the board's decision, this is what we would like to do. However, if they see fit that, hey, based on our decision, that, you know, there are going to be a lot of challenges or obstacles, then we can come back for reconsideration where we might, at that point, decide, hey, maybe having winter sports is not in the best option of the district, the coaches, the students, or the community.
Thank you, Dr. Bailey. Dr. Brown, we will proceed.
And I would like to go back to the hybrid schedule versus athletics. And I will say, I go back and I will say that right now we do have a solid virtual schedule, so our children are receiving that academic instruction. The caution that we're taking with our hybrid schedule involves all students. With the athletics, that involves the basketball team, who will not be coming into a traditional setting, so they will not be exposed to other students. So we are taking our time with the hybrid schedule because we want to get it right. With the basketball schedule, as Dr. Bailey said, that we're trying to see what direction you all would like to go in, and then we can go back and continue the research, and we're still meeting with the kids. The kids have submitted action plans or plans of action, so that, and Mr. Gaywood is planning to meet with coaches and the students of each high school, as well as the parents, so that we could make sure that everybody understands if this is the direction we're going and these are the expectations. If these expectations are not followed, then we're shutting the entire thing down. If we're not going in this direction, what do we do as an administration is we go back and plan a stronger plan for these particular seasons. But we will go in and put together a timeline for our hybrid schedule, but we want to make sure that that schedule is just as solid as our virtual schedule. So we would do that, Dr. Moore.
Dr. Brown, you may proceed.
I'm still confused on.
Right now, we're just going to the approval to participate in the winter spring sports to see what the board's pleasure is. As it pertains to the supplement, I do agree with you all on that one. We will go back and bring back the names before we bring that one forward, so that it's more clear as to what these supplements are for.
Can we, that's why I wanted to know what we voting on, because I wanted to make the right vote.
It's on page 3.
Page 3.
I'm saying, but are we taking the fall supplement out and bringing it back with those names, or are we voting to give fall, and then you just give us names?
So at this point, we're going to take the fall out, and we're going to bring this back, but also if there are any other individuals who want to assist with that.
But if I'm correct, I don't see but one recommendation, and that is for 3.2. I don't see 3.3.
Yes, Mr. Williams, that point is on page 4, and this is not necessarily the motion,
Okay, I see.
recommendation we're going to entertain at this time. Only 3, correct, Dr. Brown?
I'm on, just
Okay.
page 3 for
Just
right
page
now.
3, so it's
Oh,
separate.
okay. That's why I was.
Okay, so we'll do 3?
Yes,
And then
ma'am.
do them separate, right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we ready.
Approval to participate in the 2020-2021 winter spring sports. The Greenwood Leflore Consolidated School District is requesting participation in the 2020-2021 winter spring sports. The superintendent recommends school board approval to participate in the 2020-2021 winter spring sports.
Chair will entertain a motion to approve to participate in the 2020-2021 winter and spring sports.
So move, provided we have the proper protocols and safety guidelines in place.
Second.
It's been motioned and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Aye.
Nay.
Did you vote?
I see that.
Ayes have it. Motion is carried. Dr. Brown.
2020-2021 coaching supplement scale. Attached is the district's 2020-2021 coaching supplement scale. The superintendent recommends school board approval of the 2020-2021 coaching supplement scale, but this is the scale that we were going to bring back, so do we even need to put this one up today? Okay.
Chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second. Oh, sorry, so moved.
Second.
It's been motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion is carried. Thank you, Mr. Fuller.
Thank you, Ms. Miller. I'll give you a call shortly.
Thank you.
Gotta be watched.